Welcome to the Heartwork podcast, where we delve into stories, struggles, and triumphs of entrepreneurship, leadership, and personal growth. I'm Dr. Sara.
And I'm Dr. Marisa. We're here to guide practitioners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and those just navigating the complexities of life on a journey of discovery that explores the dance between passion and strategy, heart and hustle.
With candid conversations, insightful interviews, and plenty of laughs, get ready to uncover how leading with heart can transform your business and life. Let's dive in.
Talking through the rhythms of relationships and interpersonal connectedness and communication is a skill. We talk a lot about leadership and leading our people in business and our teams and our clients. We're very big powerhouses when it comes to being at work and driving a business forward and being in that entrepreneurial spirit. And that can, utilize a lot of typically masculine energy. And we talk a lot about flow and wanting to have things come from organic places, which is more in the feminine of like receiving and then sharing and being creative. But I for sure feel this way. Like when I come home, I want to be purely a wife. I don't always get to do that in the sense of, okay, let me rephrase that. I don't always create boundaries myself around allowing that time to flow because of, I need to do, at work, I did everything that I could for work. And then I didn't have the time to do other things, whether it was for Heartwork or whether it was for just my personal desires, and come home and I only get so much time with my husband and just want to purely be loved on and doted on and just receiving the love and care compared to all day pouring out from myself, into others and their healing journeys. That there's definitely a rhythm around wanting to take off that hat and shed that layer and just be exposed naked. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's fun too.
That is fun too.
So, part of that's definitely me creating more time blocking and scheduling. And I've been doing this more just because I really have been changing it. But for a long time, for that first year and a half really was a lot of me just doing business and then figuring I don't want to bring this home. So I'd rather stay in the business longer to try and get it done versus having to do it at home in that same space. But sometimes it's even just sharing a space with your person can be loving and just wholesome in the sense that, maybe they're decompressing for the day. He's reading a book or watching a show, but at the same time, then you're not actually spending quality time together. You're just habitating the same space. Mm-hmm. And I never want to become a roommate with my husband.
Yeah.
And so that requires intention though. That really does require effort around, again, it's a relationship. It's a marriage. You don't just, a lot of people, I feel they date, they put effort into the process. They put effort into if they decide to go forward and do a marriage. And once that marriage line or once that exclusivity line is on, it's we got there. We got to this end game of these are the steps of society and where you go. But it's not, it's just the beginning then. And sometimes, depending on how long you've been dating or how deep your conversations are, how in tune you are with yourself, to know how you operate in this relationship, you continue to grow and you continue to learn so much about this other human being, especially when you then inhabit the same space.
Right.
It's just the start. But a lot of people almost find it or feel it's the finish line. Just here we are.
And that's not real life, unfortunately. Like you said, I actually have a friend of mine that made this comment, once I get married, my life begins. And I've been waiting for this to happen, and also then once it happened that she got married, basically it was I wasn't prepared. We've been dating for 6 months, but I wasn't prepared for what marriage has now entailed and the expectations that she had put on marriage, and put on this entity of this idea of what she wanted to hold for the relationship and all that, which is beautiful. There's a lot of beautiful things in there that you can have this idea of what you want. While what if life doesn't give you that opportunity to flow in that or be able to be to make dinner every single night, to go grocery shopping, or to cook and clean the way that you maybe thought you were going to, and I think that's one of the, like, as I have danced in marriage, I've been married now for 5.5, going on 6 years now. And marriage is one of the, in relationships, like the intimacy within a relationship at that capacity is so freaking beautiful because it gives you so much insight of who you are as a human and what that looks like for how you can engage those spaces and the expectations potentially that you've put up that are just either unhealthy or unrealistic. And then at the same time, how then through that own development, as you discover more about yourself, how you can then care and love, support, champion, literally like give yourself to another human. But if you're not taking care of yourself, how can you give it to a human, like at the end of the day, And we've had to really dance in that. And you're 100% right. Like I've had to because I'm in a very full season right now. Like I get home, I literally put my phone down in my car in the garage. I will take a couple moments to myself and just like breathe, check in with myself. How am I feeling? How is am I carrying tension? Am I carrying tightness? Am I really feeling like I'm free flowing? Can I actually be present before I walk in that door with my husband? Because by the time I get home, I want to be fully present with him and not be on my phone. I don't get this perfect all the time, right? But I want to be home and be as intentional as I possibly can because now I'm moving from work mode to actually walk into a space. It's like I'm walking from through a window into another one, right? And then the same thing when I go to work. I can leave my whole house and be like, okay, cool. I'm actually going to be present. And I can engage all those places at one time. My husband and I just had a conversation about sometimes we can be very black and white in relationships, and you can compartmentalize yourself in a way to where it's like, okay, I'm work mode here. I am friend mode, or I am now family mode, or I am boss mode, or whatever it may be. But what's the dance when it comes to intermingling all of those? I think that's the question I've had, and just asking myself of can there be an intermingling? Yes, I need to show up and be a boss at sometimes and be an owner of a business. And at the same time, can I still free flow and in a moment when I'm with that patient, but in the next moment, could I be thinking of my husband and be so freaking grateful for the marriage that I have? Can I then move into that next patient room and be incredibly present with the person that's right in front of me? All I have is what is right in front of me. While can there be less black and white when it comes to how we build our lives around our relationships? It's a nuance.
It is such a nuance. And I think having a partner too that's understanding of the dance is nice. There are some couples that are entrepreneurs, both. There are some couples where one person's an entrepreneur and one person is a W-2 employee. They show up for work, plug out, and go home. There are some couples where they're both showing up to work, coming home. I mean, even for us, just even the schedule difference can be a thing, right? People working third shift, some people working first shift. I mean, even just in our office, we meet so many different shapes and sizes to families where we might have health professionals where one person works literally 12 to 14-hour shifts through the whole weekend, but is off the whole week. And the partner works all through the week. And they literally opposite schedule and manage their family because they have kids. And so how do you navigate being sometimes passing ships in the night in different seasons? I don't know all the answers to this, and I'm sure we'll come to navigating that someday because we also have desires for a family. But one of the things that is really interesting for our dynamic is that Alex wakes up really early and he's out the door for work by 6:15, 6:30, while I start the day later in work. I'm typically up and doing stuff, but I don't go to work until 8:30, 9:30. And then I'm at work until, we see patients until 6:30. So sometimes we're there until later. And he's ready to get to bed by 9:30, 10:30. So it's the finding too of the dance. And when we potentially have a family, it's going to be great that he has that earlier schedule to later. I can help with morning flow. He can help with afternoon flow. But then again, it's when can we flow together?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's been great though, in the sense that, again, we've had to dance through, when I had my first practice, we were long distance. So all the time that I either spent in the office or then at home working on stuff for the office, he didn't like necessarily experience that. He knew where I was, but he didn't experience it. And so one of the things that I've navigated when opening this second practice is like, okay, we're not long distance anymore. It's way easier to quote unquote maintain a relationship when you're texting for 30 seconds and then back to your work schedule. Like if I literally look at him and talk to him for 30 seconds, then go immediately back into like doing shit for work. Like it's not a relationship when you're inhabiting and in the same space. And so when I was starting up this practice and I would stay up really late at night or I would, do extra things on the weekends and build stuff in the office or train other people and like get things rolling and moving through startup phase, there was this rhythm around like, well, what about me and what about us? And like, I never get to see you. I don't get to spend a lot of time with you. And there was this dance around like, okay, there's a rhythm around what I'm building right now for a season, and the intention is that this season isn't forever. There's another facet of, okay, how much is too much, right? Like you and I have talked about this multiples of times. We have this endless tank and capacity to handle things and to keep going. While there's also this facet too of like, okay, what can partner do to support the relationship at this time? So if like, relationships are a dance. You're not always giving 50-50. Sometimes one partner might be giving 80, one partner might be giving 20. And if you have open and honest communication about what your capacity is to give in the relationship or how much you can show up, it can really help the other partner understand where the capacity is at, right? So if I'm giving 80% to a business and 20% to my partner, how can he pull up the other 80%? Can you maybe, yes, we want to have dinner together, but I'm at the office like working on stuff. Can there be a rhythm around like maybe I order takeout and maybe you come to the office and we can eat it together for a half an hour and then I can just finish up what I need to finish up? Can there be a rhythm around like just scheduling time outside of that or saying, you know what, on Wednesday nights, it's an early night in the office. So Wednesday night is going to be the night that we just create a framework and a boundary around this is going to be our time for two uninterrupted hours. So that again, it takes pressure off of me doing the things I need to do that I know that this is time when everything else is being scheduled. It's almost like, okay, well, let's be intentional about scheduling us, and also gives kind of this sense of relaxation to him in the sense of like, I know that this is going to be a beautiful time for me and my wife. And I want to also honor and protect that space as I'm doing other things. And as we've grown through that, he's let the reins a little bit looser because now he's really fully seen it. He's really fully experienced it with me. He's also seen the fruits of what that work has been. And also what I think is important is two individuals having things that they love to do in their own lives too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like Alex would wake up, go to work, maybe go to the gym, come home, chill with the dog. And that was like the thing and the daily rhythm. And he started exploring more things that just brought joy to him. And one of those biggest things recently is golf. So this is great. I love this, especially when it comes to the spring, summer, and fall seasons. Winter is a little different, but in this season, like it's been great. I obviously have the afternoon. I'm seeing patients. He in the afternoon can come home from work, decide if he wants to go golf. It's a 2-hour process if he's going solo, maybe a little longer if he's got partners with him, and then gets to be home. And so he gets home a little bit later. I'm getting home around the same time. And it doesn't feel like you've spent 3 hours without your wife in the same space. So obviously having hobbies and things to do as an individual and things that like you shared, pouring back into yourself to make yourself feel like a more complete human being. And not that Alex is ever codependent, but just not developing those habits of like your life being wrapped up in and around another person can obviously be very healthy for yourself and healthy in the way that you show up then in the relationship around expectations. That still doesn't excuse the fact that like I am in the process of doing things so that I am not always the number one, there first thing in the morning, there last thing at night, entrepreneur in my business. But there is a level of responsibility that I have to curate and take care of this thing.
Mm-hmm. Can we just give like a freaking shout out for our husbands more than anything? Like seriously, like I'm like listening to us, like I'm like I really like it's so crazy because I think at the end of the day, like I mean I think we all can fall into this where we can undervalue and underappreciate the human being that we have chosen and they have also chosen to spend our life with, and I adore my husband and I adore the work that we freaking have done together. Like it's like so fucking attractive to me when my spouse is like, yes, I'm willing to go to spaces that are not always comfy and not always pretty and are willing to do the work. And it is literally the hottest thing in the freaking world to watch somebody get vulnerable in that capacity. And also just to be there in a place where you and I are we're in a season of life where we have things that are beautifully rhythming for us, while also same for our husbands at the same time. And they're just both amazing human beings. And I know that we're obviously very grateful and also have had to navigate hard at the same time too. But you can't see the beauty if you haven't gone through the hard, and you can't be a nurturing human being if you haven't experienced like grief sometimes or difficulty. You can't be an empowering human if you haven't seen the places where you've not been empowered, and been shaken down a little bit. And so I'm very grateful for the life that we've experienced. And I'm with you. Like it's wild to like be in understanding the nuances of relationship, like the health of claiming things for yourself, because you almost have to have this independence to be like interdependent, You have to have a capacity of independence for yourself, to know yourself, to truly understand what you love and what you enjoy, especially when you're married to somebody that is very, very different than you. My husband and I are complete opposite human beings in the best way. And that's why we work and we are so good together. While also it has created conflict at the same time too. My husband is the most beautiful, brilliant creative out there than he ever could be. Like, and I am not. Like, I am creative in a lot of other ways, but I don't play guitar. I don't play drums. I don't like put together like this podcast, those types of things. But he values those things and he wants my engagement in those as well. And so I don't always do the greatest job at this, but it's like creating a place where I can celebrate those things for him and really come together and say like, look, like I see you doing these things. I love your brilliance here. It's like one of the things I've also come to find is like if instead of just telling somebody that you love them or that you think that something is cool about them or that they're doing a really good job, why not share why you think that they are doing a good job? It's like a layer deeper, right? Like maybe there's like 5 bazillion layers deeper that you need to go for those nuances. But I don't want to just tell my husband that I think he's doing a great job. I want to tell him why I think he's doing a great job or what he is contributing. And I think that's that feminine energy. That's that place that women are made to do. We're made to celebrate, empower, build up, like champion our freaking husbands so that they know that they literally could like carry the world on their shoulders almost, because that's what they're designed, like they're designed to be the protector, the provider, those types of things too. So it's understanding what your person also needs, but then also going there with yourself so that you can also give it back and that it's not just pitting yourselves against each other.
And also like having the communication style to understand what really does light that other person up in the ways that they like to be shown appreciation, shown care, shown love, like, and be celebrated. I love doing that. Like my husband really enjoys talking throughout the day. Like he just loves having those connection points. And it is one of the hardest things for me to do because my day is full of connecting with other people. Mm-hmm. So anytime I have a quick moment and I'm back in the main office, like if I see that his name has popped up, like I am very intentional about saying something back, having a follow-up like celebration, question, something that again just is that little bit of extra effort that shows that I know how much he loves and values and cares about that. So I want to showcase that it's also important to me because it's important to him. And truly, like, he does so, yeah, when you talk about the shout out, like, he does so much. I could go to work, come home, and just, like, not do anything. So the fact that I get to come home and it's, like, nice and tidy, and it's not 100% all the time, but, like, he's so awesome also about doing the things that I hate. Like, I do not know how to mow. I don't know if I will ever know how to mow. It's not my thing. I don't care about the lines. It looks nice, yes. But like, maybe I'll care about grass when we actually landscape. We have not landscaped our house really. And I love pretty things and trees and flowers and stuff like that. So maybe at that point I will be more into it. But no. Um, Even something so simple like I don't pick up the dog poo. Like I don't, because he does before he mows. So he takes care of so much. And it gives me the freedom and the space to take care of the fun things like decorating and aesthetics and buy new, a new organizational process for us in the house and stuff. But I mean, he meals preps so much for us and like asked to help because I love cooking and stuff too. But grilling, I feel like is one of his love languages. And so like having our like meals prepped or saying like, Misa, I put aside like this is the ground beef that you can take to the office is like so sweet. Because I will sometimes take a couple hours on a Sunday to do some other side projects and work or just he's like, just no, just relax, just do something for you. And I just so appreciate the journey we've had in the recognition of how hard I work. And that's also come with me understanding that just because he gets to go to work and then leave, that doesn't mean that he's working any less hard than I am because my mental capacity for decision making, for thinking about all the things from A to Z, because this is a business I own, looks different than what he has ownership over. And I'm so appreciative too. When we got engaged, obviously we both work with Pablo, but I've been working with him and I really wanted to do just some premarital stuff together. My intention, I think anyone who enters into a marriage has an intention of making it last. But I was like, why not set up those foundations and frameworks now? If there are things that we can continue to navigate, even just in this planning process of the wedding. And we were full on, like we got engaged and I opened my practice like, I don't know, 4 months later, 6 months later. So there was a lot of building and planning and different things going on. And so even just his willingness to do that with me, even though it was like once a month, was so beautiful. And since then, like, we've done it every quarter and it's just a great check-in space for us. And so I really advocate a lot for couples, even if they're seemingly perfectly happy and really in tune with each other, you just never know what might be existing under the surface. And as different seasons in life things come along, how that can add a stressor to the relationship and just create a new territory to navigate. So having those intentional points of checking in, whether it's with someone else as a third party, or even just having those like intentional, sometimes people will go away for a weekend and just get in a new space and talk about what their desires are for the next upcoming quarter or year or whatever, what they're looking for in their marriage or things that they love. Like that open communication, that ability to go into those spaces is such a, I think personally, just a game changer for the way that you navigate the relationship and where you're feeling like you might need extra support that week, where you can show up for each other and just, again, that capacity check-in, that vibe check with each other. We do that. We've talked about that with our teams. Bailey just talked about it the other week, the vibe check. Like, what a beautiful thing to do for your coworkers. Well, why not also do that with one of the most important relationships in your life, a partner, family? Like, I mean, this is stuff that you can take to any relationship.
Mm. Some non-negotiables for Nolan and I has been, we need a vacation at least once a quarter. And that doesn't always look like you're taking 2 weeks off, right? Like that's for us, that can be a long weekend, that type of thing, but that's been a non-negotiable for us since we've been, well, really in these like past 2 years, because we just know just the time away, the intentional time. And that's not just like we're on our phones either. Like we typically go and we're like super connected and we're talking. And we also, like you said, like Nolan and I both individually have been working with Pablo. I've been working with Pablo literally for 8 years now on Monday, which is wild. And Nolan's been working with them weekly for the past 5 years, which is incredible as well. And that's just something that we both value. We value our own individual work so that we can give back to the other human and like do our own journey. And also we've similarly like you, like we've now started to dance in some of the intertwining of adding both of ourselves with that work, just so that, because sometimes there are conversational pieces that you can do the individual work, but if you're not claiming them together, there can be places of communication that just gets either not understood or misconstrued in a way that it's just was not meant to be that way. So a third party can be incredibly helpful. So if you are ever danced in that, highly, highly recommend it. There's no shame in talking to another human being that can see something that's just neutral. Like they're meant to be neutral human beings to help you start to get curious with yourself, but also within your relationship. And so there's no shame. There's nothing wrong with you if you need to dance in that space. It is only an opportunity. So, and then one of the other things that we strategically do every single week is that we plan time. We used to do it on Thursdays. Now it's switching to Wednesdays, but we plan time in the morning to come together, half an hour to 45 minutes. We're talking about what's going on for your week, like what's happening. How are you doing? Let's be radically honest though. Like, how are you actually doing? Where are our finances? How do we feel within our finances right now? Like, how are we actually doing on the intimacy scale? Like, do you feel like you are feeling intimate from me? We need to go just have sex now instead of actually like doing this intimate time, like the spending time, like it's like those are honest conversations, and we don't have necessarily like an outline. I know some people like to use outlines. My husband and I are not like that. We just are not I'm going to write this down. We're going to take notes type of people. You do you, whatever. And then we strategically, again, we don't even have kids, but we strategically try to have a date night at least once a week. And so again, it's space, like, because it is so easy when you live life to eventually just become roommates if you don't create the intentionality. And so those are some of our non-negotiables, and it's given us space to have those conversations and really get honest and playful and fun and trying to really bring the romanticism into a relationship that's outside of just, okay, I'm just going to show up and say, I love you. Let's get a kiss. Bye. Have a good day. Come back. Hey, how you doing? How's your day? Good. That's it.
We love that. I think this is part of like our rhythm too, is the sense of we started like getting to know each other by playing almost like a question game.
Yeah, you gave me that game. You sent it to me, which is so freaking fun.
Okay. So back in 2017, there was no The And question game. So for all of you listening, there is a cool company out there called and they have these really intentional questions. I think if anyone's ever heard of like We Are Not Strangers, there's a lot of different cool organizations that have put together like, again, just going deeper with each other, and not just with a partner, but with like family, with employees, with friends, blah, blah, blah. Like, let's not stick with weather-based questions that day or like task-based things of the week. And so it was always kind of a thread in Alex's and my relationship. And I'll never forget like one of the first days where he shared, I just love talking to you. I love understanding like your mind and your brilliance. And I've always just loved and adored that from him, because I am a very like intellectually stimulated person as well. And it's very attractive to me on a like sexual level too. Let me get into your brain. Let me get into your mind. Like, share those things with me. I just love that. And so we've always just gotten to know each other on that way. And when I moved back here, obviously one of the biggest things was I moved back here without a guarantee that our relationship would last or make it, or that, yes, I did these things. I've already started this Heartwork journey, but like it wasn't over yet. This was just the beginning. In fact, now it came with a lot of things to unpack, because here I am, and it's like, I'm in a new area again. I'm back away from family. Like, I don't have my practice or business. Do I want to do this again? Do I want to open up another practice? Like, what does this look like for us? What are you bringing to the table? What am I bringing to the table? What is this? And so I found this company, and they had the and questions, and I grabbed this pack, and it's like a little deck of cards, and it's become like a fun thing for us. So sometimes we'll go to restaurants or date nights. We did it on our honeymoon. Like, we've done it before, and it's just like, we'll grab 10 cards and you go, I go. Like, I'll ask a question, he'll answer it, I'll answer it, then he asks a question, and vice versa. And it's fun. Like, it's also just creative. Sometimes, I mean, it's hard for you to like, what kind of deep question do I want to ask? Like, what? No, fuck. What? No. Like, I just want to wedge out in front of the TV with my spouse and like cuddle. Like, I don't fucking know. But then like on the flip, it's like, let's go to dinner, let's hang out. And like, I'll bring 10 questions. Like, let's ask each other. Sometimes you might not want to ask them at dinner. Sometimes it might be something to do at home. But like, every question from what actually, what lately has really been turning you on and like getting kind of sexy and fun, to questions of like, what do you see in my friends? And do you feel like they value and appreciate me and pour back into our friendship the same way that I show up for them? Like, stuff too that just you wouldn't necessarily think to like ask your spouse, or maybe your spouse is noticing a behavioral difference in the way that you interact with your friends in this group versus a friend in that group, or family members, stuff like that. And it can be very insightful, and it can be an opportunity for you guys to grow together. And like that could be the third party, a card, truly just inviting you into a different space, a different conversational occupation. Because again, I think it's the stagnancy in some relationships. And there is a level of like, yeah, you're going to continue to do life together. I've only been married for coming up to 2 years. We've been in a relationship since 2017. Do the math. Like, I want this to go for 15, 20, 30, 40, God, till I'm in the fucking grave years. There's going to be a level of it's fucking boring today.
Totally. There are going to be rhythms. It's just not going to be on the high honeymoon stage every single.
No, and you don't always need to pull out a deck of cards or plan a trip to like try and do that. Like you're allowed to have seasons of flow.
Yeah.
But there are ways, again, that you can do things to add spice that don't always look like adding spice in the bedroom, but can also look like adding spice to your heart. That can also look like adding spice to your mind. That can also look like just doing something different together, or going not to the same restaurant you've gone to for 20 years. Like there's so many creative ways to just get to know the person next to you. And as you guys are growing as human beings individually, which I hope you all are, and I'm pretty sure our audience is an audience that has intention of growing and discovering more parts of themselves. But don't forget that while you grow, your partner should ideally be growing too. And you can either grow together or grow apart. Well, this has been fun. This was a tangent that we didn't expect to go down today.
I love it. It was not one planned, but it just kind of flowed. So fun.
I love that. Before recording, we were just talking about relationships and stuff. And I was like, let's just start hitting record. Let's just put this out there today. So let us know if you did enjoy hearing a little bit of a different view, not talking about team, but talking about the team that you have in your home.
Yeah, y'all. So if it's hit home and you enjoyed it, just know that not only the relationships that we're encouraging you to do within yourself, it's so important to only continue to nurture those relationships with the people that matter most to you. And you may not necessarily be married yet. You may have friends, this may be within your family, but it's all important. How you show up for yourself will bleed into how you show up in your relationships, whether that is your spouse, your kids, your family, your friends, your parents, whatever that may look like.
Just to add to that too, on the flip side, because I've talked to a lot of people about this, especially at the recent conference we were at, if you are going on the journey of discovery and shedding identities and doing your shadow work and working through ego and stuff like that, and you really want your partner to do it, I would also strongly encourage you to lead by example through it. You can always ask the question, but I think sometimes we get like, well, I'm on this journey. I want them to be on this journey with me. And there's like almost this, if they have resistance towards it, it's like, what do you mean? And there creates tension around like growth in the sense, or sometimes you may be growing and evolving in a different way and understanding yourself and your heart more, and you only wish for that from your partner. There's no convincing though. You can't convince someone to do the work before they're being called and invited themselves to do it. So anyone that's asked me about how did you get your partner to do this, or how did you navigate this space as you started this and they didn't, etc., like I would just encourage you to lead by example. That's all I did. I just led by example. I shared some of the things that I was discovering. I kept close to heart the things that I wasn't quite ready to fully open up with yet. But the fact that I was doing that, and then the example that was setting, shared and opened up his eyes to seeing things a little bit differently too in himself and in his own life. And that's what invited him to say yes when I asked us to do it together prior to marriage.
It's an opportunity that you can pose. That was one of as you live from example and you live from that space, there is, again, opportunities to share pieces of yourself as you are living by example. Like you said, by holding a lot of that close to you, because there are some things that somebody just can't handle, even if it's your closest person to you, because they're just not aware of it themselves yet. But it's not your job to convince them or bring the mirror to themselves, right? It's not your job to bring awareness to that other person. And vice versa. It's not their job to bring it to you too. They may see something in you that you're just not aware of either. It is it's a relationship in that. So I was the same way with my husband, where when it came to it, I invited him and said, I think this would be a beautiful opportunity. Pose it as an opportunity, not just something that you have to do or you should do. Should will bring in shame. It's an opportunity. Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Heartwork podcast. We hope today's conversation has inspired you to lead with heart in your business and life.
If you enjoyed this, subscribe so you never miss a release, rate our show, leave us a review, get on our VIP email list, and definitely join our exclusive Facebook group, The Heartwork Life, to plug into our community and learn from us and other heart-led entrepreneurs on a weekly basis.
We look forward to chatting with you next time.
Bye.